Well, it's taken its sweet time, but the Audi Q4 e-tron has finally arrived in Australia. Having been on sale since 2021 in Europe, what we have here is the updated version offering more power, range and better dynamics. We'll reserve our final judgments for later in the year after a more comprehensive testing regime, but for now at least, let's enjoy a cheeky entree. Here's everything you need to know about the 2025 Audi Q4 e-tron. The Q4 e-tron is Audi's upmarket answer to the best-selling Tesla Model Y, as well as models like the BMW iX3, Mercedes EQB and Hyundai Ioniq 5. It shares its MEB underpinnings with the Volkswagen ID.4 and Skoda Enyaq, but you never really know from looking at it. It certainly looks a whole lot better than the Tesla Model Y, which to me at least kind of looks like a vertically stretched frog, albeit in an Iron Man mask now it's had a facelift. But anyway, Audi's designers have done a great job of making this look different to both its platform buddies and its rivals. That is until you realise that the rear brakes are drums, which on an $80,000 premium vehicle is, well, crap. Now Audi claims drums are better for energy recuperation, with the missing power offset by the regenerative capabilities of the electric motor. Thankfully, that's where the obvious ID.4 and Enyaq links end, because all Q4 e-trons in Australia come with this beautiful interior. Now, a key standout here is the separate climate control panel, which avoids the integrated mess of the Skoda and Volkswagen, and I particularly like these integrated bottle holders in the door. Now, being a small medium SUV, there's a good chance you're going to want to put people in the back. And I can confirm that the legroom is decent and the headroom is healthy as well, even with this panoramic sunroof and me being about 80% torso. Behind the back seats, you'll find a healthy 520 litre boot on the wagon and an even better 535 litres on the swoopy Sportback. There are two powertrains offered in the Q4 e-tron range. The 45 versions feature a single motor on the rear axle, outputting 210 kilowatts and sprinting to 100 in 6.7 seconds. The 55 versions, meanwhile, feature a 250 kilowatt dual motor setup, good for 0 to 100 in 5.4 seconds. Now, none of those numbers are all that impressive by EV standards, especially when less powerful rivals like the Ioniq 5 are just as quick. Sustaining both systems is an 82 kilowatt hour lithium-ion battery providing between 488 and 540 kilometers of WLTP range and facilitating 175 kilowatt DC fast charging on the bigger 55s. And the price? Well, the entry-level 45 starts from near enough 85 grand, while the flagship nudges 108,000. Now, as normal, the Sportbacks command a minor premium over the SUVs, but crucially, both 45 versions qualify for the Fringe Benefits Tax exemption. But should you really spend the money? Well, if all you care about in a car is its design or the image that its brand brings, hey beauty, Q4 e-tron can't really go wrong. It's electric, it's good to look at, it's an Audi, it's got those 4 rings on the front. But what if you like driving? What if you value the driving experience? Now, if you've got a penchant for sporty driving, it would be all too easy just to plonk straight for the flagship 55 dual motor. It's got a heap of power, it handles nicely, it's got progressive steering, and the sport suspension means that it sits very flat through the turns. But the trade-off of that is quite a jiggly ride, and unfortunately, and Audi really should have known better on this one, is there's no adaptive dampers included as standard, which I think on a vehicle costing $105,000, $106,000 is a bit of an oversight. Having driven all 4 variants on this mini launch, I can honestly say that the sweet spot of the lineup is the 45 Sportback. Yes, it's got the single motor powertrain. You don't quite have as much firepower as on the dual motors, but 210 kilowatts and 545 newton meters is more than enough. In town, you're never going to use that much power. And the real kicker is it rides on standard suspension, so it doesn't bang and crash and thud or kick over country roads, let alone things like expansion joints and train tracks in town. Not to sound over the top or cliche, but it actually feels like a more pure experience in that the front end is doing the steering, the back is doing the pushing, and away you go. You would never call it sporty, but it doesn't embarrass itself. It's more athletic than the average medium SUV or small medium SUV in this instance. Speaking more generally about the Q4 range, everything in the cabin falls to hand relatively easy. Everything besides the drive mode select button, which is way down at the back of this sort of floating Pride Rock style center console. And even then, by the time you reach it and you toggle through, it takes a second to pull up the screen, and then you got to toggle through one by one till you find the drive mode that you fancy. And there's 5 of them available as well. So it's a fair bit of toggling. I think in something as premium as an Audi, we really ought to have something just on the steering wheel or a toggle down here where it falls to hand nice and easy, and it's quick and easy to use. It's not a very elegant system. Mercedes obviously have their haptic dial up here on the steering wheel. Much more sophisticated and easy way to do it. Who knows, perhaps they can rectify this if and when they do an SQ4 e-tron. Beyond the drive mode select button, the other major gripe I've got with the Q4 e-tron is its brakes. Now, don't get me wrong, they work perfectly well. You jump on the anchors, it stops. And whilst this isn't a sports or a dedicated performance car, it could do with being a bit better, a bit more feelsome, some more bite, because at the end of the day, it's still quite a heavy car, as most electric SUVs are. And if you're getting stuck in on a downhill run as we did today, you can just kind of lose a bit of faith in the brakes, the tyres, the front end, the whole thing just it makes you dial it back a bit, which, fair enough, I said it's not a dedicated performance vehicle, but it's an Audi. You want to be able to hook in and exploit it. But as for its general day-to-day SUV-ness and capabilities, this is nice. It's perfectly fine. The interior is great for the most part. Everything's striking. It looks good. It's easy to use. The materials in the front, at least, are nice. It's very practical, especially with this big bottle holders. Love that. There's more scratchy plastics here and there in the back, but to be honest, that just makes it more kid-proof. A small, medium SUV, that's likely where it's going to end up. Whether it's your kids or grandkids, whatever. So there we have it, the new 2025 Audi Q4 e-tron. Not perfect, but still a worthy addition to Audi Australia's portfolio. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss any future videos, at least some of which will feature the new Q4 e-tron up against its rivals.